Far before undergoing his formal education in art with BFA and MFA in painting at Kala Bhavan Shantiniketan, the seed of an iconoclast creative thinker that would navigate him through oddities to redefine abstraction in contemporary art today was sowed in the tender mind of Dr. Ramesh Kandagiri when he was nearly 8, when he had a life-navigating encounter with the oxymoronic antagonism between modern art and real art, as interpreted to him by his uncle, when he happened to be marveled at the artwork reproductions of Gaitonde and Ravi Verma in a barbershop. Today, as a contemporary artist and an art educationist, Dr. Ramesh Kandagiri is on his intense lifelong voyage of demystifying abstractionism in the world art at large.
Please keep awarding us with your love and support by subscribing to our channel if you have not already and sharing it. And also do not forget to press the bell icon for further updates. Welcome to Chaibrary. We have today with us Dr. Ramesh Kandagiri, Associate Professor of Delhi College of Art. I welcome you, Dr. Kandagiri. We are very, very pleased to have you, and it's going to be a wonderful time interacting with you. As much as I understood after our telephonic interactions that there's a huge dynamic personality behind you. So let's get started. In our interaction, you had mentioned that you have experienced something called clairvoyance. So that got me curious, and you said that sometimes mostly you go to your classes without planning anything, and it's inner sense of clairvoyance that guides you. So your relationship with your students and the role that you play as a teacher, I mean the entire perspective of actually the teacher's role, all this put together was what I wanted to question.
So far as the question of clairvoyance goes, I think clairvoyance is there with everyone, every sensible being. And then regarding preparation of the class is something like preconceiving the idea of teaching, which I think is more of a didacticism. And opposite of it is the autodidacticism. And
so if we translate the word didactic into a common understanding, it's some moralistic preaching?
Yeah, not moralistic, one-sided teaching, like the teacher is there and he's just teaching. While teaching, he's not, opening up to listen to those people who are already having something to say, more than those who don't say usually.
So there's some students who don't speak, but some who want to speak.
Who want to
speak. So the teacher should be very receptive to students like that.
Yes, so because those students who want to say many things, they're so shy. They don't usually. So it's teacher's duty to be receptive to those vibrations first. And then if she or he is using his clairvoyance towards those students, those who are autodidacts, because they have learned also before learning. So I myself as a teacher should be aware that there is someone who is not just below me, he is at par me. So I respect that.
That's a very, very admirable perspective that a teacher can carry in a class where he sees the student at par with him. Yeah. That's amazing.
And then when I enter the class, of course, I'm overflowing with my knowledge, not a problem. But then context. What is the context? Context could be maybe some still life, or life study, or say portrait, or composition. These are the main contexts. But there are sub-contexts wherein we find that the student has something to offer, and then I have to be a little sensible enough to receive those vibrations. And when I do that, I actually go inside to read the faces of the students, because their faces say so many stories, especially the foundation students. When you teach foundation students, maybe people have experienced it, that the first generation student, first standard students, they are fresh, they are so fresh, they come with a, energy which are not adulterated.
Clean slate, yeah.
Clean slate.
Moldable.
Yes. And then if you burden them on the first hand, actually you have done a sin, and you have eradicated one important page from the academics, which is why I say something which is I have written in my diary. If you allow, I'll speak out.
Yeah, please do.
To hell with the academy. If it fails to understand students' empirico-transcendental problems.
So you'll have to simplify this huge,
Yes.
heavy-duty
Yeah.
phrase.
Empirico-transcendental is a compound term, has been coined by Michel Foucault, the great French philosopher of 20th century. According to him, man is the locus of the paradoxical happening. That is empiricism, which is experiencing, and transcendentalism, which is going beyond oneself. So these two things are happening in man.
So I am trying to, one is of course being able to step beyond your limitations,
Yeah.
and the other thing,
Experiencing.
so while experiencing, you should have simultaneous ability to be able to
Yes, exactly.
move beyond
Yes.
the limitations of
Yes.
experience.
As I told you that when I entered the class, this simple theory works there. I am all with my experiences, sum total of my experience, and then I am coming out of my experience also. Yeah, I am transcending myself, transcending my I. So here because I am an avid reader, so I try to grow up every time. So I quote Hubert Herman also here, who said dialogical eye positioning means my eye is there, I'm sending my eye to you, to the cameraman, to other people, to the other people in this room, and I'm collecting back those eyes to me. And they are giving the opinions of myself. So this way, I'm collecting all those data which will enhance me as a personality.
So if I were to simplify it according to my limited understanding, when you say clairvoyance, for me it is like an insightful, perceptive personality.
Exactly.
Where you're open, you're constantly open-minded, you're
Yeah.
not full of your knowledge, even if you have a huge load of it inside.
Yeah.
There is still an opening and a receptivity totally intact.
Yes.
Wherein even a student can, and which is why they say that teaching is the best form of learning. We keep evolving.
Yes.
So a good teacher will always be a learner.
Be a learner, at the same
He's
time.
learning through the students while teaching them, while passing on. That's so beautiful.
Thank you. My hand was like this, and the more I tried, I
slipping
slipped
down,
inside. And then again I tried, 3 times I tried. 4th time, I was sure that I was going to die.
In our interaction, I also remember you having mentioned the word iconoclast. That's the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, it's
So that kind of a mindset, I believe, is very, very important for society to grow, to evolve. While at the same time, there's a lot of resistance from the environment because obviously it threatens the sustaining system that is there to prevail on its own. So what has been your journey with your non-conformist attitude, the hurdles that you faced or the difficulties that you faced and the takeaways? So both sides of it.
great. First of all, I'll go to nature. Even nature does not allow perfection. Nature is all there, and
I would like to stop you here because this statement is very powerful when you say nature doesn't allow perfection. It really is food for thought. And you need to first elaborate that before you move further.
I will, certainly. Which is why what I was just explaining. Nature is all there. Means no one is greater than nature. Nature is always observing us. Nature expects that we grow in our freedom, but with discipline. Nature does not allow anybody indiscipline. So, if a person who is a thinker out of the box, nature has a special observation over him or her. Because such people actually trespass the boundaries. Trespass the boundaries for the sake of understanding. They bring back understandings to the society. For that, they work more than the required. They take risks. And then also, they intrude the zones which are not allowed. In that you can include the doing night outs also. Reading, writing, excessively working.
You said night outs.
Night outs. Because night out means you're not sleeping. Because when you are into something, researching something, then certainly you will have lack of sleep.
You'll be depriving yourself of sleep, because I remember that this makes me recall that Rabindranath Tagore was known to have locked himself inside his room for 2 to 3 days in a row.
Exactly.
Without even allowing anyone to come in with the food or anything, because he was so into the zone of...
That's a zone. That's called zone.
And that's being impacted by the artistic spirit that comes and visits you, and then you are just lost to the world. Maybe art has that kind of a power.
Yes. And then when the person who is into that loses the sleep, because I want to quote here the state of Turiya, where conscious, unconscious and the subconscious are on the same line. People, the artists in West in 20th century, they used to practice this, the surrealists. Dali used to keep a spoon in his hand and be intoxicated. And through that intoxication, he used to get sleep. And in that sleep, means he's going to be asleep. But then the spoon is about to fall down. So the very moment when he happens to balance the spoon, not to fall down, that is the time when fractions of second the Turiya arises.
Little difficult for me to understand. You're saying that he would induce sleep by substance.
Yeah.
And then when he's about to get completely sucked into the sleep, because one part of his head is completely aware and awakened.
Yeah.
And he's making an attempt to keep it awake.
Exactly.
So that so he doesn't lose consciousness of the fact that he has to keep the spoon held up.
Because this is the time when consciousness arises.
Okay.
Because sleep is of mind only.
Right.
Our body needs sleep.
Very interesting.
Because body and mind not separate thing, they are the same thing. Descartes from the Western philosophy, the Cartesian philosophy don't accept that mind is the part of the body. In Indian dialectics, mind and body are the same thing.
Yes.
Because after death, mind also goes, ego also goes. Only subconscious remains.
I would want to quote one affirmation or to substantiate this with an example. So when we did Vipassana meditation, you've done it. So mind and the body being together, you start being able to become aware of it, because anytime there is some trigger in the environment and you feel a sense of maybe fear, that fear is felt some part of your body or maybe the entire body. So the mind is interspersed and it's there in every bit of your body, every cell of your body.
Fear is with the body only. Beyond mind, there is no fear. Peace of mind is not there. Peace of mind does not exist. Because mind is full of thoughts. As long as thoughts are there, turmoils of thoughts are there, peace cannot go inside. So peace is always beyond the mind, means consciousness.
So I'd like to simplify this for our
Yeah,
viewers,
I will.
because I think when you're saying this, it is sounding very esoteric. Or maybe you can simplify it.
I'll try my best. See, any creation happens in its true form when the artist is actually exploiting the medium called mind. Unless and until we exploit the medium, the creativity does not take its full form. For this, I would like to put forth one of my small theory. The gist of the theory is, when idea has born, media must have been born somewhere. That has to be searched by the artist himself, the individual himself. It is taken for granted that he will search it, and that will test his or her aptitude.
But there is a zone of non-verbalization. So when the artist is able to access that, how does he use medium to be able to verbalize it exactly to the intensity which he has felt it with?
The theory is still going on. When idea and media are amalgamated in such a way where none of them could be brought into their previous states, both are transformed, and so is transformed the individual.
In the process of
This I call tripartite transformation. When this tripartite transformation happens, creation has happened. And there is Shiva. Chaos has happened. Creation has happened.
So you feel any genuine, authentic artistic process has to be involving this triangular.
This is called tripartite transformation.
Yeah.
Then when this transformations happen, then the artist himself or herself has been exalted to the other stage, where so many other problems are waiting for him or her.
Okay.
Right? Then what happens? In Indian Shastras, Indian dialectics, it has been told that while death, we are not supposed to be having any ideas riding in our mind. Then only you can get nirvana.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
myself.
So I have been writing one book called Empirical Transcendence. So this is the theory which fits into any researchive individual who, while searching for his destiny, for his sublimation of creativity, is at the same time exalting and also relieving himself from the ideas. As long as the ideas are there, one cannot transcend towards nirvana.
Because ideas are something that keep restricting you the zone of the mind.
But then again, one has to exhaust the quota of the ideas. Without doing that, suppose somebody decides after being dejected by the society, suddenly plans to go to Himalaya and do tapasya. That is a premature decision. So I'm pointing at our educational system. Our educational system should look at the problem of empirico-transcendental problem. I told before only, the empiricism of the student, the practice and experiencing, and then while doing so, the student's soul, the student's understanding, the student's, you can say consciousness is also rising, which is not taken care of in India. Then what happens? Some other teachers comes and suppresses over him, burdens him with so many other things. You have to do this, that.
So when you say this is not happening in India, is because our teachers are not being guided and trained good enough, well enough to be able to have that sensibility when they're getting into the class. Also, one of the factors would be our teachers are not paid well enough to be able to focus
truly.
on that kind of a
बिल्कुल।
development.
वो है ना, एक कहानी था ना कि राम जी का धनुष किसने तोड़ा था,
हाँ,
तो लास्ट में प्रिंसिपल बोलता है नया धनुष बना देंगे।
I remember. That was
तो
so
वही
funny.
बात होता है यहाँ पर।
In my own experience of teaching for a couple of years in an IB school, I mean, the name, fame, everything is there intact. The facade is so perfect. But inside you realize that teachers are being grilled and they're being treated like, those hawkers. So the clerical part of the work, and so the joy of teaching has gone out completely.
Yeah.
And I carried a very, very glorious opinion of a teacher, teaching being a noble profession, and I realized that
It is a noble profession.
I mean, it's just shunted out of the window. You are not allowed to be that teacher.
People come to do
Because
the job.
the system is so constricting
Yes.
that you just can't let that survive.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. It's really sad.
It is really sad.
I wish we could do something about it. What can we do about, I mean, that could be the next question.
First thing is economy.
Yes.
Because our Indian economy is also a copy of Western economy. Because Western economy has been built over dialectical materialism.
What does that mean?
That means any materialism which is manifested out of thoughts and, logics.
Dialect means dialogue.
Dialogue.
Okay.
Dialectical.
Okay.
I mean, it should not be just monological.
All right. So there's room for discussion.
Exactly.
There's room for accommodating opinions.
There should be a lot of opinions invited. And then,
Democratic.
Yeah, democratically.
System.
We are called democratic, but
For the namesake, definitely.
for the namesake we are. So they're fortunate. West is fortunate for that. As I was telling you that in West, one great man came. He told that he's son of God.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then some जो कान भरते हैं वो लोग, they went to the king and said that there's a man says that he's a god. Do you know that, sir? Okay, bring him to me. Bring him to me. First ego, the authority says that bring him to me. Who is greater than me? He also must be worshipping God. Nevertheless, but then in the society, he never had an idea that some person could be there who is more than him. So he called upon him, asking that why you are saying this. After discussion, they found that he's culprit. He was hanged. He was crucified.
And in the most
and very barbarously.
barbaric manner.
So there was social tragedy, that some great man is crucified. The energy does not go. It creates a void, and in that void there was a lot of
Chaos.
Chaos. Then they asked what will happen to us. We have no guidance now. Then there was a voice saying that you have killed the faith so barbarously, so henceforth take for granted that you will not have any faith in your society. Faith will be having a backseat always in your society. Yes, if you want to survive with your intelligence, we are giving you brigades of philosophers, scientists. Then came enlightenment.
So are you trying to say that philosophy, no matter wherever highest point of the possibility of philosophy, it can never reach to that level of spiritual?
No. Which is why West is always craving for the spiritualism. Now again, we have in India, we have a lot of pseudo-spiritualists.
Yeah, of course.
So that is also a problem.
Which is a problem.
That's why I always say faith is problematic. Faith is problematic. Faith is problematic in West because they lack it.
No, but then this is very paradoxical.
Paradoxical.
It's sounding paradoxical because you said that it was declared by that void that got created that you will never be awarded with the pristine idea of faith.
Pristine idea of faith,
again.
yeah.
So there you are upholding the idea of faith.
Yeah.
And now you are saying faith is a very bad thing.
No, I didn't say that.
What did you say?
Faith is problematic in West because faith, West has been, in the need of it, drastic need of it. It was divided there.
When you say faith, that means we need to have faith in some power above. That power humko taar degi, that power is going to take care of us.
No,
that kind
faith
of a
is not power.
What is faith?
Faith is something like you abandon all powers and surrender yourself.
Surrender is the word. Surrender to that
Yes.
which is going to take care of you.
Yeah.
Something above. Or something
We should not
beyond
think
you.
about any power when we are.
That's what I meant.
We are thinking of faith. We are not thinking about any power. We are actually completely hopeless at the time. We are completely hopeless. We are, no strength is left with us. And we are dejected, completely disheartened. And then we are saying, oh God, save me. You are the only one who will. So that generates the power. And that is strength. Okay, that is Shakti. So faith is problematic in West because they are having lack of it.
Can I interrupt you here?
Yeah.
I want to share with the viewers what you've just explained, because I experienced it maybe in glimpses here and there, that there were times, and I think all of us go through times like that, when you're completely hopeless and then you just don't see any ray of hope, and that is the time which naturally leads us to a mode of surrender.
Exactly.
If we are not being if we are not escaping into any way of, if that pain is piling up, and it creates a sense of suffocation inside the chest.
Yes.
And if somebody is given to substance abuse, and if they fall a trap to that, then that thing misses out. We miss out on being able to access that source.
Yeah.
So if we are completely, genuinely hopeless, and surrender mode happens on its own, then that kind of a channel.
This arises. This
very
channel is
beautiful.
opened.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Then we were talking about consciousness. We reach to our consciousness. This is the time we reach into the consciousness, rising beyond the mind. Because our eye will not allow us to go beyond mind. Mind will always suppose us. Mind will always say, "You're great. You're masterminded."
So basically, boosting our ego.
Boasting you. But did it ever say that you are master of your own mind? It will never say. Because mind
Because
will
the mind always
exactly
wants to master
overpower
us.
you.
Yes. It wants to stay a master.
Yeah.
And the moment we start mastering it, it will create all the ruckus to be able to derail our attempts to master it.
Yeah, that's why I say man is the locus of the double. It's not single. Man, human is not a single entity. Always there is a double.
Yeah.
Okay. So when this happens, when the person is beyond the mind, then the actual self is incarnated. Then
so could you give us some examples from your life which becomes relatable for a person like me or our viewers, where you actually saw that translating into your day-to-day situation somewhere?
When I was 7 years old, I went to have haircut with my uncle to a salon. There I saw, because I used to draw since childhood. I was 5. From then I used to draw, as mother told me.
As your mother told you, you should keep drawing?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I saw those 2 paintings on the wall of the salon, one was of Gaitonde, the formless painting. Other one with all the figures and all of Ravi Verma ji. So that was, I still remember that painting. It was Sita Swayamvar. So I was so spellbound by the anatomy and that realistic modulation of the figure. And at the same time, I was spellbound by the formless thing of Gaitonde. Then I asked my uncle. I didn't ask, I just expressed my happiness that I like the both. He went on to flaunt his knowledge that the one which you see with the figure is real art, and the one which you see without the figure is the modern art. So real, modern, 2 terms went into my head. I didn't know the meaning of it.
Well, as a 7-year-old kid, how would you?
I would never. But as I grew up, those 2 terms started hammering in my mind gradually. When I happened to read what is it called? Real means the real world, and modern means the modernization. So when I entered Kala Bhavan, I asked my teacher in 2nd year maybe, in Bengali I asked, Dada abstraction maneta ki? He said, Vimurtu kola. So that was just a translation.
It's a translation.
So actually, that was the paradox with which I was growing. Real and the modern. Can't the real be modern? Or can't the modern be real?
He just pitted the two against each
Exactly.
other like they were the two ends of a pole.
No,
And actually-
here what I'm trying to say is, constantly life is, you are facing with this paradox. People don't realize it. People think that paradox is dangerous. Just be single-minded. How can you be single-minded? Ignoring one postulate, which is constantly hovering over you, constantly chasing you, you're ignoring it. Even Hitler was ignoring emotion. He could not marry his girlfriend till the last. He planned it to do so in the bunker by the time there was a bombing. So there was no time left because he had been pending his emotions. That emotion became hyped up. And then emotion asked him to put your gun in point blank range and shoot. So he did it first for the dog, his dear dog.
Shot his dog and then he shot himself.
And then he did it, he poisoned his wife, then killed himself. So balance of emotion and reason, these are two paradoxes. This paradox is always there with us. We cannot ignore it. The middle path is from between.
So my question still remains a little unanswered that,
Yeah.
I mean, how did and where did you in your life find that quality of yours coming in any particular situation where you felt that you could actually be a non-conformist, and then what were the takeaways from that situation?
Yes. Then see the real, the term real. I entered Kala Bhavan, and since I was deft in realistic drawings, because at the age of 17, I fall ill. I was nearly dying. At that time, I used to search for something to amuse myself. I found one big box in which my dad used to keep good books. He was an avid reader. He still is an avid reader. There were some books of Russian paintings, American paintings, and some sheets of watercolor, handmade sheets. I was so enthralled by seeing that.
Those were his paintings?
Yeah.
Okay. So your mother was also fond of painting, your father was also?
He was a very good sculptor.
Okay.
He's an engineer, retired engineer.
But you had the environment of art in your house, so
Yeah.
that's how automatically absorbed
Exactly.
it.
I will tell some small episode of my father's, how I learned from him. When I found those books, I started reading them and seeing the paintings. I was marveled at the paintings. Then I started copying them with a pencil. Doing so, I was thinking that I don't know whether I'll live or not, because then
You were so precarious at that time.
But that gave me that, that faith. This is how the faith arises. You are completely hopeless. Then the entire strength comes to you. Entire world will conspire for you. And I was in the making. That was the time the artist was in the making. And I mastered the realistic drawings without any teacher. So by the time I went to college, maybe after 2 years I was healthy, because I was sent to Nature Cure Hospital, where I did a 14 days fast. Post this illness.
Achha, you had already recovered,
Yeah.
but you decided to...
Not recovered because of a medicinal allergy. I could not be recovered. So somebody advised my dad to take him to Nature Cure. You will have natural healing there. So I recovered there. I got my health. And I was so happy. One of those ecstatic moments I had in my life.
It's when we go to the other extreme
Yes.
and then life bounces you back,
Yeah,
then
the
the
paradox.
quality of joy. Yes,
This is paradox.
And the contrast.
Yeah, contrast.
So to have to experience the beauty of every day,
Yeah.
one has to have gone through certain very dark
Yeah.
zones of life to be able to appreciate what
You
you
are
have.
absolutely correct.
Yeah. Otherwise, we take it for
No,
granted.
then we take for granted. So this
Totally.
life, until and unless you have pain in your life,
Totally.
you can't understand the value of the pleasure.
I could give a small example from my life. Like last year was a little tough for me. I had 2 accidents. February I broke my collarbone, and October I broke my ankle.
Oh my God.
So, of course, I mean, एक injury से recover किया नहीं था कि दूसरी हो गई. But now when everything is nearly normal, I am beginning to enjoy my normal days so much more. I mean, the happiness of a very ordinary days far more than
You started living more. I mean, more meaningfully.
Yeah, because that simple day looks like it's so glorious.
Yes.
The glory revives in your life. So pain is very important in life.
Very important. Pain is there always. Pain is inevitable.
Yes.
Only thing is we don't value it.
We run away from it.
We run away from it. As you told that you did Vipassana, in which it is told that neither run away from the pain nor be too clinging to the pleasure.
Yes.
You should be Madhya Marga, the Samta Bhav. So Samta Bhav is not something very foreign or something lofty. It can be practicable by anybody. So then this contrast, since I had mastered the realism, academic realism in the sense, I had an ego. I developed an ego.
Are you coming to that non-conformist
Yeah, that's what.
part?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When I entered Kala Bhavan, I was shocked to see Picasso's Guernica. I asked my teacher, if only we are supposed to finally distort in such a way,
Why are we doing this?
why are we
Working
practicing?
so hard to
Yeah.
master the... Yes, it's such a long journey to be able to
Yes.
master. I
So-
remember my Masi, she was an artist, and she told us that we had to draw the sketch of one tree from 100 different angles.
Kya baat hai.
100 sketches, so I'm sure you all have gone down the same...
Wow. Yeah, we did it. We did it. Picasso was the same person, no? Who drew an object from all the angles, and then he founded the theory of cubism. The object has to be seen from all the sides.
So that's why he fused them all together.
Yeah.
In one
But then he was after Cézanne only, because Cézanne is not there, no one could have been existed. Which is why he is called father of modern art.
Modern art.
So modernism he came here. Now realism, as per Greek philosophy, corporeal realism and the anatomy and perspective, and all these things are the yardstick of realism. Okay? But again, we have Cézanne who discarded all these things and said that real means the process. The very process of painting is the real. Okay? My theory of para-realism comes from here only. Because the experiencing is the real. It should be ing, quote, ing, the present.
In the present moment.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the time where you are actually deciding that which way the particular form should be. You can be non-conformist only when you are in the present. And you can be in the present only when you are rising beyond the mind.
So you have any example that becomes relatable?
Yes. Since this ego was so powerful in my mind, in myself, the realistic drawings and all, I was unable to break it. Yeah. I was unable to break it. I tried many times to distort figures, but I couldn't.
You were unable to break out of the ego that you had built up?
No, this is simultaneous. The ego of the realistic drawing.
Of your expertise as a realist artist?
Yes, that became an aviary for me.
What does that mean?
That is the cage.
Okay.
From which I couldn't go out. So my entire tenure in Kala Bhavan was figurative only.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe some...
So that's 3 years or something?
No, 5 years.
5 years, okay.
I have BFA 5 years and 2 years masters.
So you adamantly stuck to it that way?
Not adamantly,
You
I
were
was
trying to break out of it.
I was trying.
But it was so deep-seated
Yeah,
inside you,
but-
and the hard work that you had done kept you holding on to it.
Kept me holding on to the figuration.
Huh.
But if you see my those days drawings, it will have the pulsation of, breaking away. So that is the point actually.
Breaking away from the ideal that was set in your head. So there's an effort which is
There's an effort.
beginning
Constantly
to show,
there's an effort.
that you're trying to break away from whatever you would have
Yeah.
solidified inside of you.
Solidifying in myself. So the first question that arose in my mind, what is the connection between modernism and realism in the childhood? Kept on following me, chasing me, and until I was drowning in a riverlet in Hampi. It so happened.
Until you were drowning. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just standing beside the riverlet on a rock. I slipped down. I slipped down and I was into the ditch. And that was nearly 25 feet down. And no space to, I don't know swimming, but even if a swimmer is there, he can't get out.
Because it's so narrow.
It is so narrow and mossy.
Okay. Slippery. Very
My hand was like this. And the more I tried, I slipped
down,
inside. And then again I tried, 3 times I tried. 4th time, I was sure that I was going to die.
Acha.
You can understand
So
that
you were
moment.
sinking inside the
I
water
was
then?
sinking
You were
inside.
already inside the water.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
were trying to climb
this
through
much,
those mossy
this much
walls.
water came. Then I thought, what will happen to my writings, half-done writings, and my paintings, my thoughts? Then was like, it is said that you are near to God that time, and you have one-to-one conversation with Him. Then I relate in this way that He said, you are so expensive person, we can't afford you again.
Okay.
So you better you be alive.
Okay. We can't
So
afford
then
you
only,
again.
then only one hand came there,
Acha.
asking me to just hold it up.
And how did that person arrive there? There was some...
I don't know. I have lost hope. I thought, मैं तो गया.
That area was accessible by some other people.
People are watching me.
Chance की बात है कि okay.
Yeah, I was shouting, save me, बचाओ. 2-3 बार चिल्लाया. तो शायद मेरा बचना लिखा हुआ था. I came out. I was pulled out. Okay. Then I was in a state of, like whether I'm alive or not. Then I had a Tibetan bowl with me. I started, playing it. And that sound, you must have heard that sound. Tibetan bowl.
I have. Now
Very
I
soothing.
Yes.
That was the vacuum wherein I could normalize myself. That yes, I'm alive. And then the life and death, I saw the both of the entities are sitting together. वो कहते हैं ना कि बार बार आती हो चली जाती हो, बार बार आती हो चली जाती हो, पास बैठ जाओ ना, तूने तो आना ही है एक दिन, तू तो वफादार है, बेवफा तो जिंदगी है, क्योंकि मौत आती नहीं है, जिंदगी चली जाती है.
So these are somebody else's lines?
I wrote.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah. So I was trying for abstraction. What is abstraction? So this is the time I was revealed with that fact. I can't define, but yes, something has opened inside me. And it is so powerful that constantly I am pervaded with the juice of that understanding. The more I do painting, the more it is, pulling me towards it. Yeah, because it's of late I found that when I did Vipassana, after that I came to Delhi and I went to Vipassana. There I found that as if, everything has a pre-planned thing. I realized that it was all pre-planned by nature. Because nature, I told you, nature always says, stop there. Don't go beyond that. It will warn you. But if you are so iconoclast and you are so adamant in searching it, you will be given 2-3 warnings. Then you will be taken into the dangerous zones.
But I haven't understood. You said nature will ask you to stop there. Where? What are we talking about here?
It will ask you to stop in a natural realm. Natural
Achha.
realm. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the human nature
Yeah,
that
human
demands that you stay mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre.
You don't break out of those
Exactly,
boundaries.
that's the right term.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when a person goes beyond that, she or he becomes an enigmatic individual.
Because he's gained an entry into some...
Till then, they are mediocrity mass. Then maybe at the most, mediocrity individual, then essential individual. But this is the time when you go beyond this stage and you become enigmatic individual, because you have understood certain things, but it is your duty, again, to balance with the things. You will have to face anyway problems. So problem will be always waiting for you. So iconoclasts are always, going to be facing problems because they're meant for that.
Yeah, either you just allow yourself to go with the flow.
Yeah.
Do not, or...
Still, they are making the rhythm. They are bound to make the rhythm. Without rhythm, we can't stay in the society. But you have to build up a language. I'm building I'm on my way. Every time I paint, every time I finish my painting, I find something new. Then I allow people to see it. They find it, wow, it's something different.
So your initiation into abstraction happened more as this experience of yours was a trigger that actually started pulling you into that.
After that, I had a solo show and it was completely sold out.
And all this time you were making a severe effort to to be able to somehow find a way, and it wasn't happening. But one extreme experience like this suddenly opened up
entire doors. I was completely open. I mean, there's no roof.
That's very interesting.
There's no roof. I'm constantly going there. And then of late I did my PhD, and in which I have I put so many other things also. Like Indian modernism has to be rewritten. Indian modernism is half done because the lexicon which has been used there is the Western. Swaminathan has quoted it as hybrid mannerism. Swaminathan, while founding his group called 1890, he has mentioned this term, and he was against progressive group. In his eyes, abstraction as such is the actual language of Indian dialectics or art. And I wrote in my PhD also that abstraction as such, which happened in West, is something like emotion revolting against reason, being sandwiched between two world wars, when emotion found itself betrayed by its own counterpart, reason, who mingled with the war rationalists.
Yeah, so when there is a rationalization of something as heinous as a war, then emotion and feelings and the zone of that is completely annihilated.
Exactly.
And
Humanity sought for the emotions. Then came all the brigades of, individuals, all the brigades of individuals who were abstractionists.
You said humanity fought for?
Sought for
emotions.
Yeah.
And then happened the philosophers.
Because their society was rationalist society. I told you before, skepticism, rationalism, then empiricism, and then came the transcendentalism in America. So, because I'm a reader.
So your PhD thesis is also in a way a compilation of this entire theory that you have created, huh?
Where I also said that the abstract in Indian art is never been away from concrete. It's always with that. Simple example I'll show you. When people go inside their puja ghar, they worship the icon, the Murti Roop,
The idol, huh?
idol. The moment they do that, they close their eyes. If only the full-fledged akara.
If only the akar was important,
akar.
then the eyes would not have closed.
Yes.
That is just a trigger for them to enter another zone,
Exactly.
another realm.
So it's very natural that you go from Murta to Amurta.
That's a stepping stone.
Yeah. And also I wrote that we are not sure, we never knew that our saints and sages who sat for in tapasya, they must have seen abstraction, but they only said neti, 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 not this, not this, not this. Because they were aiming for something higher. They reached there, of course. Buddha did it.
Again,
Mahavira
abstraction
did
is
it.
also just a stepping stone to that
Exactly.
ultimate.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but then one has to come into
Yeah.
the amurt, from the murt to the amurt to something beyond
Exactly. That clinging should not be there. The clinging to the, figuration has been taught to the students that figuration, you have to be aiming to figuration only. I mean, that is a limitation. So, again, there is a, this thing, you break the grounds. You break the
boundaries,
yeah,
the
boundaries.
limitations.
Yeah.
And,
Then I imagine a corridor where rooms are there, sides. Each room is having a still life, life study, portrait, some other thing, watercolor, this and that.
so all the standard
Compositions.
mediums of
There is a door out there. Dur make them, samne. There are few students who can, get rid of all these bindings and break that door and go off.
take the leap.
Take the leap and take off. Otherwise, you will find so many people who think that this is the thing one has to be always safeguarding. Art is not
Because
about
our
copy.
senses are so binding
Yeah.
that they will always keep us restricted into that very
Exactly.
initial zone. So I wanted to know, what is your opinion about the channel Chaibrary?
I appreciate Chaibrary because Chaibrary is doing a great job by investigating into the genres and forte of artists and bringing out so many things which are very important for the common people. There are many experts who are doing this job. So I'm so fortunate to be here and facing you, Bhoomika
It's
ji.
been my pleasure
Yeah.
and the pleasure of Chaibrary to have had you here today, sir. It was, my interactions with Dr. Ramesh Kandagiri were actually very phenomenal because I happened to take a little bit of a look at his thesis and want to go through it because it's apparently a very esoteric piece of writing, and his concepts are very, very profound and very
I found you're so daring.
daring.
Yeah.
So, and it's been a pleasure to have Dr. Kandagiri here today, and we look forward to having you again. And thank you so much for your valuable time, sir.
Thank
we
you.
had a wonderful time.
Thank you, dear. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Please keep awarding us with your love and support by subscribing to our channel if you have not already and sharing it. And also do not forget to press the bell icon for further updates. This is Bhoomika from the sets of Chaibrary. Till we meet again, take care.